Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rico's Rants. I am Rico. The gentleman next to me is my friend Eric. Say hello.
Hello, Internet.
There
Good
you
to
go.
see you.
Eric is going to help me review a film that is near and dear to our hearts, but also not.
So a bit sort of gets too close in the wrong
It,
way.
it's near and dear to our hearts, but it also is kind of like
Sort of a violation.
it's like acid reflux.
Yeah.
You can get through it. Not to say that this film is a bad film, but it has its faults like every film. It's just not the classic that the first one was. What is the film?
Jurassic World.
That's right. Block this dude. Block this dude. Let's do that. Let's do that. So, Jurassic World.
Directed by Colin Trevorrow.
Trevorrow.
Local Bay Area man. Worked at the same video store. Did you guys hear that? Video store?
Did you say video store?
There's one still in existence. It's on Piedmont Avenue. It's called the Video Room. It's a good spot.
And
he
they-
works there.
and
I will plug it since...
They didn't ask me to plug it. They have no idea that I'm doing this. I'm sure they're not going to be thrilled about it either. But
I want to plug it. It's a good
you
store.
plug it by all means. So
Go rent videos.
So Colin Trevorrow, the director, used to have the same exact job as me. How crazy is that? The fact that, one, we have this sort of view of Hollywood and actors and directors and everything living in their own kind of Hollywood world bubble.
Yeah, and he sort of breaks that a bit. You know, it gives one hope.
It gives me hope because I want to get into this business, but you know, you don't know how to start. And the fact that the future director of Star Wars Episode 9 is
Yeah, I think it's 9.
9 is
9.
is going to
That was an Inglourious Bastards reference.
999. That's too many nines. Anyways, he is from the video room. Like he worked at the video room, and that's. I mean, we have like Bay Area boys that made it. We got Clint Eastwood.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. We got Mark Hamill. Even though he kind of doesn't really count because he was born in Oakland, but didn't stay in Oakland. I think he lived.
Japan?
He lived in Japan or something, and then he lived in Virginia.
He went somewhere Midwesty.
He was an army
basically
brat.
somewhere that looks like.
Looks like Tatooine.
Yeah, Tatooine.
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 There you go. Tatooine. Trevorrow. We had a hard time pronouncing Colin Trevorrow. We just had to keep reminding ourselves.
It's not Trevorrow.
It reminds.
He's not from England.
I thought it was total British. His brother came in and said, "Oh, do you have Jurassic World?" I was like, "No, not yet." And he's like, "My brother directed." I'm like, "Bullshit! Your brother directed? Come on, you're not British." And I thought he was British. He's from Piedmont. Had no idea. It turns out my brother went to high school with him.
Who knows?
It just burst that Hollywood bubble for me.
Opens it up, yeah.
Out of the fact,
Gripes with the film.
let's talk about the reason why we like the film.
Okay. It really, really brought us back to childhood, at least for me.
I would agree.
It was very, 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 very nostalgic. And, just... I was so scared that it was going to be just so shit and not sort of pay homage to the original film as well.
I wasn't worried. I totally thought that it. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I totally thought it was. It is
Okay.
It is Rico's Rants after all.
Yeah, I know. He can rant over me.
It's not
That's one of the rules.
It's not Eric's Rants. You get your own show.
Eric quietly speaks under Rico.
Yeah, not quietly enough. It didn't make me worried. It gave me what J.J. Abrams did to Star Wars, which was A New Hope.
I didn't think J.J. Abrams was going to be able to do that to Star Wars, so...
But he did a really good job.
He did. I'll have to give him that one.
And that brings us back to Jurassic Park because Colin is doing episode 9. So, like everything goes back to Star Wars, everything goes back to Jurassic Park. We'll get through this, we assure you. I was a big fan of Jurassic Park, the franchise itself, but because we didn't really have that Star Wars moments in the theater, having what everyone else did in 1977, 80, and 83 with the original trilogy. That's what bugs me whenever it's like, did you see the trilogy? I'm like, yeah, I saw it when I was a kid. Like, no, the rings. Like, not the rings.
What are you talking about?
It's like,
trilogy refers to Star Wars pretty much exclusively.
There's only one return, and it ain't of the king. It's of the Jedi.
Yes, it is.
Go Kevin Smith. Yep. Anyways, we both can agree that we did like the film Jurassic World, but Chris Pratt made the film great and made the film not so great.
It was a Chris Pratt movie.
It really was. It was really kind of, because this was like sort of the beginning of his film career. He just gotten really successful with Guardians of the Galaxy, which wowed the hell out of all of us. We were not expecting that film to be successful. I'm a comic book nut, and I was like, what the hell is Guardians of the Galaxy? Like, is that the one?
I honestly had no idea it was part of the Avengers trilogy until maybe 3 years after it came out, and he told me.
He is sort of like a comic book nerd in the sense that he doesn't read comics, and he lets me educate him about comics. So he's kind of like a Wikipedia comic person. Like, I'll look it up on Wikipedia and be like, oh yeah, I totally know about Wolverine. He's a faker. You're a faker.
I'm full of shit.
You're full of shit. So,
I actually have gray hair. I dye it. 19. Still have to dye it.
All right. I'm not gonna touch that one. So, Chris Pratt had just gotten the big success of Guardians of the Galaxy, which was great.
Comes out into Jurassic World, and it was just another Chris Pratt movie.
But I would say
Chris Pratt cowboy thing. He's great at it. It was fine. It was good. It was good energy for the film. But as someone who wanted to see Sam Neill come back, and he would disagree with me, but Jeff Goldblum.
That's because you look like Jeff Goldblum. I hang out with you too much. I can't have.
It would freak him out. He can't see him again.
And Jeff Goldblum does not look good very anymore.
Yeah, he does. Have you seen him in that new commercial?
I
Dude's
tried.
doing good.
Okay, fine. Well, I guess I was always a big Sam Neill fan. I always thought he looked like.
I wanted to be Sam Neill a little more than I wanted to be Goldblum. Until I found out about girls. And then I was like, Goldblum. The whole scene with the water on the hand.
Alright, I'll give you that. That was a sort of erotic scene in a movie where dinosaurs are chasing after people.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
That's interesting though. Like, I don't think there's a single sex scene in any of the Jurassic Park movies. Like, you would think at one point, like, people would shelter up and, like, in a rush of panic of, like, that they're gonna die any second.
I'd be doing stuff if the dinosaurs were outside.
I mean, they do it in horror movies, and that's what we're saying, is that Jurassic Park was a great precursor for kids before they got into horror films.
It was a movie that scared you that wasn't just the... It is a horror movie.
Exactly. It wasn't Halloween, it wasn't Freddy, it wasn't Jason.
It's not just like everything went wrong and it's screwed now. It's like...
The only film that rivals that is like Jaws.
And Jaws is scarier.
Jaws is scarier, but it's also an exciting film. Like, I just rewatched it. It is a fantastic film even without a shark.
Yeah.
Without a shark, it totally works. Like, and that's the brilliance of Spielberg, is that he made a movie about dinosaurs eating people, which totally would have, like, bombed if it wasn't for him. Can you imagine that? If, like that is like...
If you had just walked up to me in 1989 and been like, I'm making a movie where dinosaur... It was probably it came out in what, 92?
93, yeah.
So it was probably in development in 89?
I guess that's true, yeah.
You came up to me in 89 and said, hey man,
one of us was born in 89.
I'm making a movie about dinosaurs eating people, and it's on an island, and dinosaurs came back. I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
You know what it would basically be compared to now? If they did Jurassic Park now, you know what it would be? Sharknado.
Yeah, it would be a Sci-Fi Channel movie.
It'd be a Sci-Fi Channel direct-to-DVD film, and only Spielberg or Colin Trevorrow or J.J. Abrams can pull it off. Really,
you need that. You need some heavy artillery.
You need some talent.
Yeah,
some major talent. And we're not naming names or anything like that. But like, if someone like a director of a direct-to-DVD film tried to do an adaptation of Jurassic Park now, it would bomb. Just by the poster alone, it would be like, what the hell is this, Jurassic Park? Even the name itself is inaccurate because it's more Cretaceous period.
That's a really good point that I actually had some trouble with.
Cretaceous Park just doesn't flow well. Jurassic flows well. And we're going to talk about the poster of or at least the cover art of Jurassic World really quickly. I don't like it.
It's not what it should be.
It does not look like the other. It doesn't look like the other covers, which is just
the doors opening.
No, not that. I'm just talking about that logo. Remember how the first one's just that logo and it's all black?
Yeah.
So if they had taken this logo and made it the Indominus Rex or even a raptor, that would have been cool.
Tight.
And nothing else. And that's what we're saying is that this was just a vehicle, and even maybe a motorcycle for Pratt. And we like Pratt for the most part. We thought he was great in films, and he was good in this film, but it just felt like it was a jumpstart for his next film.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to keep seeing his films and stuff, and I want to see another Jurassic Park film, but the fact that they were just like, oh, Chris Pratt's driving a motorcycle with raptors, it just was just weird. It was bad taste in the mouth.
Yeah, it was clearly, it was cheap. It felt cheap. It felt, it's like, oh, great. Triumph Motorcycles gave you X amount of dollars, and then Mercedes gave you X amount of dollars.
It's like, if you get this motorcycle, you'll outrun raptors.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, a new Triumph won't outrun raptors.
Raptors don't exist. It'll outrun a turkey.
Okay.
That's basically what a raptor would be, is a 6
I don't know,
turkey.
those Berkeley Hills turkeys.
Well, no, throwback to first Jurassic Park, it looks like a 6-foot turkey. Yep. So, we like the film. There are a couple things that we didn't like, but let's talk about what we did like. It tied it into the franchise very well. It was on the
same island.
Same island as
they reference the old park.
They have the Jeep.
They have the Jeeps. They have the goggles,
Very
the
good.
night vision goggles,
and they have BD Wong.
Yeah, seriously cool. The fact that BD Wong is still, they paint him as sort of a, almost mad scientist, still kind of relatable, but definitely caught up in the fact that he's been making fucking dinosaurs for the last 20 years.
I would say he's kind of like an Oppenheimer, in the sense that he, created the atomic bomb or something, and he's just like, I am not thrilled that I did this. Full of guilt, and it's really, you could see it. BD Wong is a fantastic actor, and the fact that he's the only cast member in both the first Jurassic Park and this current Jurassic World really ties it in together. I mean, Sam Neill was missing. We missed Sam Neill. We missed Jeff Goldblum. Even I miss Jeff Goldblum.
Even just a bit of him in the beginning talking about how all of it's a bad idea.
Tying it in is really what they did good here. They did a lot of homages.
And they should have done more of it, in my opinion.
But that's the whole point of this, is that they can't...
They can't do all of it because the movie's not just for us who loved the old Jurassic
If they're going to go that far with adding all the stuff in the first 3 movies, they might as well just remake the first film. Which is what I'm glad they didn't do.
That would have been bad.
It'd be like remaking Jaws. I mean, it's just, you can't do that.
Don't do that, by the way, Hollywood.
Yeah, no.
Leave it alone.
We do not need to shit on a classic.
That was really the concern with
this one.
With this one, and it didn't, and that was
It did. It kind of poo-pooed the bed a little bit.
They could have done better, but honestly, they could have done a lot worse.
Again, it was too much. It was not that it was too much Pratt in the film. It was too much promo of Pratt being
Chris Pratt.
Or there at the same time there were rumors of him being the next Indiana Jones. It's like
he would have been better than LaBouffe.
I mean, if I had to choose a Indiana Jones replacement, which thankfully they're not going to do, I'd have to give it to Bradley Cooper.
That makes sense.
I have to give it to him. He could do it.
He could.
He really could do it. Moving on. Harrison Ford is not ever going to die. That we can be assured. He crashed
a fucking plane. Imagine, you're playing golf. It's sunny out. Plane crashes.
Yeah.
That's already crazy.
Yeah.
And then out of that plane comes Harrison Ford.
You know what the funny thing is about people playing golf early in the morning is they're usually hammered.
Oh,
So you can imagine being like, am I seeing Harrison Ford? And Harrison Ford just gets out of there like, there you go.
Angry that he has just crashed
shaking his finger, being like,
Argh!
I want my family back.
Yeah.
Where's my family?
I would be freaked out. I would have been worried that I had kidnapped his family by mistake and
I
didn't
would've-
know about it. If
I would've-
Harrison Ford just shows up, be concerned.
I would have thought I had hit the ball and it hit me in the face and I was hallucinating. I just Harrison Ford?
Are you there?
All right. So the bad. The film was great. They introduced a new monster, and I would call it a monster. I wouldn't call it a dinosaur.
Yeah,
this is not a real dinosaur.
Genetically engineered. And it was quite clever how, they didn't, the raptor blood and all that.
Yeah, that was cool. And the fact that, like, we have to mention the fact that a lot of scientists who saw this movie had issues with it. Like, you're going to see Jurassic Park, man.
It wasn't sound in the first place.
No, and the reason why people, like, the scientists had a whole issue with it is because it's like, oh, it doesn't look like real dinosaurs. We're never going to get that movie where dinosaurs really look like real dinosaurs.
Also, they touched on that. The reason B.D. Wong mentions the reason they don't look like real dinosaurs is because they have to fill in DNA.
They added in frog DNA in the first one, and they added in, like,
cuttlefish,
and, snake, raptor, and T-Rex to make this.
And then also, no, there was one more. It was it wasn't gecko. It was like African tree frog or something. Did you say frog?
I said frog in the first one. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That was a whole big thing because in the first one, the frog DNA was about how they could change sexes. Yeah, because God finds a way. Is that the
life always
finds a way? Thank you. I work at a video store. What do I know? So B.D. Wong mentions, like, you wanted the dinosaurs to look nastier and more monstrous. Like, if we did it how dinosaurs really would look, they would look like giant birds. Like, they'd be covered in feathers. And there's nothing. I mean, I imagine a 20-foot tall turkey chasing after me.
Terrifying.
Would be terrifying. But
not as scary.
There's something about a giant lizard thing chasing after you that's a little scarier. So, the Indominus Rex is great. It works because it's unique. It's white. Like, it's really
scary.
It's really scary. It's got blood red eyes, and
it can camouflage. Which is not so cool if you're being chased by it,
or if you're Chris Pratt in the cage with it. So, what I liked about this film is the fact that it was actually at a park.
Yeah, like there were people there.
There was people running.
Impending doom.
There was people screaming and running. There was a dude with a margarita. It was Margaritaville.
I watched it with my dad, and he was like, I gotta carry in the drink."
That's the guy who.
So good.
Is
it Jimmy Buffett?
That's Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, I thought it was.
That's total Jimmy Buffett.
Fucking A, that's so cool. I gotta go tell him.
It's Jimmy Buffett, and he's like, "Oh God, Margaritaville!" They're like, that's the thing that is also great because it pokes fun at our culture, which is basically like all Disney and all theme parks and everything. It's like, oh my God, shit's going down, but where's my beer?
Yeah.
Dinosaurs are chasing after me. Where's my margarita? Where the hell is it? And it was really cool. And I like the fact that they mentioned that this park has been around for like 10 years already.
Yeah.
And people are bored.
Yeah.
It was just, they basically had to invent a new dinosaur to make the interest going. Like, people...
Which is also sort of a social commentary.
Yeah, people just get bored really easily, which is why the video stores aren't around. Everything wants it quick, everything wants it fast. Okay, so it was nostalgic, it was good for us, it made us interested. Now, the bad. Too much promo for Pratt, and I get it, and I don't blame the director, I don't blame... It's not...
It made sense.
It's not Trevorrow's fault for the film case being Pratt on a motorcycle with Raptors.
Triumph motorcycle, for which the label is very visible.
But it was just too much. But my biggest problem is, as much as I like Bryce Dallas Howard's character and her acting in it and her looks, she's beautiful. She cannot outrun a T-Rex. Like,
no one can. I think it's actually a good portion of the first film is people...
The first three films.
It's people not being so keen on outrunning T-Rexes.
People cannot... I mean...
How do you do it?
Remember in the first film, the T-Rex is chasing after them when they're in a Jeep.
Yeah.
And you're telling me this chick, like...
Oh, I'm gonna go watch the first film.
In heels, man. Like...
Movie 1, Goldblum pulls the flare out, gets thrown into a thing, legs broken.
Yeah.
Because he can't outrun it.
She pulls out a flare, which was a nice throwback.
Great throwback.
That was, I mean,
super cool.
That was almost like Colin Trevorrow's like pre-lightsaber moment.
Yeah. And it went all slow-mo too.
And that was, I think, the best part of this film was the fact that, like the first film, the T-Rex is the hero.
Yeah.
Like, it really was a nice throwback, because in the original film, the T-Rex was supposed to just be the big bad, and then the Raptors sort of became like the main ones.
Because they're really, really fucky and scary.
And they could actually fit and open doors.
Yeah.
They could, like, open up a door and, like... And you know what? I gotta give credit. The Raptors with the trainer, with Chris Pratt as the trainer, that was cool. That was actually really cool.
His role should have been a little smaller.
No.
Honestly...
I don't think it should have been smaller. It should have just been more focus on...
Should have been a little toned down.
The promotional stuff for him should have been toned down. But he was good. He was in the film long enough, not short enough, long enough, good this. I mean, it was a nice balance.
Yeah.
But the promotional stuff was just too much. And we can't really talk too much shit about it, because that's not the filmmaker's fault. It's not Chris Pratt's fault. It's he's trying to make a living. He's trying to make a career. I mean, he's doing what he can.
I think he's definitely doing quite all right.
He's doing very good. I mean, I don't know what his next movie is, though. Guardians 2, I guess. Jurassic World 2. It's going to be one of these two. So, the fact that she was able to run in heels and have I mean, I guess you could argue that because the T-Rex is older, because it's the original one from the first film.
Is it?
Yeah. It's got scars and scratches and bite marks from the raptors in the first one. Oh, you didn't know that?
Tight.
So now, I mean, even though it was
so tight.
Even though it's been 25 years since the first one, I'd imagine it's slowed down a little bit. It hasn't been out running around, getting exercise, kind of
eating stuff,
fed goats and stuff. Like, it's become...
Yeah, not in the greatest shape.
It's an old ride.
Yeah.
It's the teacups that are kind of clunky, but are still fun to see for nostalgic reasons.
Yeah.
So the fact that they brought that back was a big, like, Godzilla versus King Kong kind of moment. And we are not going to ruin the ending, although even though it's been out for a couple years and it had the biggest opening before Star Wars, I still am trying not to ruin the ending, but that was awesome. That is probably some of the best...
Excellent action sequence.
That final 10 minutes, I was at the edge of my seat.
In those couple moments that Pratt has with the Raptors, where they decide, no, I'm not going to, like, claw your guts out. Mm-hmm. We're on the same team.
He's the alpha.
Yeah, it just gets you so all pumped up. You're like, yeah.
I just have to remind.
I want a Velociraptor now.
Oh, hell no.
New pet goal.
No. No. You have to be badass like Pratt, and we are bitching about him the entire time. But that's true.
Chris Pratt, if you're listening to this,
we are sorry.
Training Raptors.
But I will say this: I have never laughed so hard in a Jurassic Park film as when in the beginning when they first introduced his character, and one of the Raptors snarls. He's like, "Hey, Blue, don't give me any of that shit."
Yeah.
I started dying laughing.
Shit. Yeah.
And the way he's like, "Don't give me any of that shit."
Actually,
I mean, look, we hate to admit it, but we actually did like Pratt in the film, and it's not.
Great.
It's nothing.
It pains me.
It's not his fault. It really is not. It's all promotional. That's really the big issue. And the fact that Dallas Buyers Club, Bryce Dallas Howard, was able to outrun a T-Rex, but that final fight was so good. And I will admit, I'm still excited to see Jurassic World 2. I think they need to change the title. They can't call it...
They should just call it Jurassic Park 5. They should take a cue from the Fast and Furious guys, and they should just play it loose with the fucking names.
Just call it Park 5?
Yeah, that sounds like parkour. I want nothing to do with
Park
that.
4?
So they should have called this one.
Park 4.
Park 4.
I mean, and they can't... I mean, I want to see... If they're going to go extreme and we're stupid just for the sake of it, they should call it, like, Jurassic World, The Lost World. You know?
Yeah.
Just to be like the Jurassic World, The Lost World. What? Jurassic World, The Lost Park. Little flip.
A little flip, and then you could do a whole movie all in the old 90s park.
Yes.
With the way
Yes.
better scenery. Don't do it on green screen.
You know what I want to see above all, though? Huh. Raptors in New York.
It just made me tense thinking about that.
I mean...
Can you imagine them in the subway?
Can you imagine them in LA? Can you imagine them in Oakland? They'll go to a video store.
Yeah. No, see...
Won't be any more video store, but they'll go there.
I feel like the East Bay would probably deal with the Raptors pretty quickly.
Yeah, they'd just say, here, smoke this, and just chill.
or shoot it.
No, we don't condone that. We don't condone... Well, you mean shooting up or shooting?
Shooting the Raptors.
Okay. Oh, New York would kill the Raptors in an instant, actually, if now I think about it. Especially if it went through, like, a really rough part.
Yeah, I think those Raptors are fucked.
Yeah. Like, they just do the Raptor call.
Yeah, exactly. Ow! Ow!
That was nice.
Yeah, it was good, right?
But it also kind of sounded like a cat in heat.
They kind of do sound like cats in heat.
But they also kind of sound like seals. They do that weird...
Can't do it.
Alright, so we're retarded. But we did like the film. The best thing about it is that... Holy shit. Are we on 26 minutes?
Yeah.
That's too long.
I was wondering about that.
Fuck you. Alright. I think we... What time is it?
Oh, it's at noon, so it's...
What time is it now?
Oh.
The fact that we're talking about this right now is we have to do it.
2:15.
It's 2:15 right now?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do one more.